that is unshakable, unlike everything else, which is shakeable. So remember that at the end of class, hopefully we'll connect that, because we're studying in this class, we're studying an explanation on the ultimate nature of all existence, meaning anything that goes through your senses and you are having an experience of has the nature you're experiencing, and as its basis has an unshakable diamond-like nature. And in Buddhist terms it's called its emptiness. And we've been exploring what that means for all sorts of things in this analysis of existence. Why? Because we all experience existence, and we don't seem, for the thousands of years that we've been on the planet, we can't seem to get a grip on making things work the way we want them to. Something always breaks. And when you understand why, eventually you giggle about it rather than going, oh my goodness, not that again. And you're fine with it, which is actually like trying to run out of quicksand. You just go deeper in. So understanding you're in quicksand, you begin to understand that every movement is important. And you grab for the vine. Divine. And divine, boss, divine. No, that's the plan. So we're talking about that, and there's a lot of words, and there's thousands of years of discussing these words. But your job, my job, is to try and make it as meaningful and applicable as possible. Your job is to think, I am living in 2015. My name is, and I have these issues in my existence, and these issues are representative of every issue every other person has on the planet and has had throughout time. So if I can figure out how to apply it to my issue, my anger, my hatred, my jealousy, my broken relationships, my great opportunity at work that just changed or that didn't, and all these things, if I can apply it to those things, then I can begin grabbing onto that divine vine out of the quicksand. And you're still in the jungle. You're just in a beautiful jungle that you can walk on. I'm going to mix metaphors today a lot. So we usually begin a class in this tradition by getting really centered and imagining that there is a part of you that connects to knowing, to understanding, to learning. And usually whatever you engage with that gives you that knowing, or that you respond to with that knowing, we call your teacher or teachers and so on. In this tradition, called Buddhas, enlightened beings, etc., we begin a class, especially on wisdom, to ask, please, that part of my existence, calling teachers or learning, I want to bribe you with a perfect universe called a mandala offering, and imagine the most perfect universe and give it away to that part of you that learns or that teaches you, in exchange for some applicable depth of insight tonight. So we do a few Tibetan blah-blahs, but the meaning behind the sounds, meaning in your mind you should think there is something, there's a realization that I can have, and I've had realizations in my life. Where does that come from? I'm inviting that. Please teach me. Please come in. Yeah, don't stay far away. Push on my mind tonight. And let me see something I'm not seeing because it's either too close or I've not listened to before. So if you know the thing, and this is the mudra, it just means the four corners of the universe and the center of the universe, and you're making it perfect. You're imagining the universe as you know it, completely free of suffering. Namja Shinla Jivarsho Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kamyatayam Shudam Soki Jodnam La Janchu Vardu Dakni Yaksuchi Daki Shinyen Gipe Sonamki Drola Venchir Sangit Ruparsho Shuran Zoki Choknam La Janchu Vardu Dakni Yaksuchi Daki Shinyen Gipe Sonamki Drola Venchir Sangit Ruparsho Shriyang Soki Choknam La Janju Vardu Dakni Yapsuchi Daki Shinyen Gipe Sonamki Drola Venchir Sangit Ruparsho. So take a comfortably seated position. We're going to center our mind a little bit by doing a short meditation. The key here is that your spine is straight and that you begin to focus your mind from its attention everywhere to gradually bringing your attention to your body where you're seated. Check your posture, releasing any tension around your legs or torso, shoulders, especially around your face, your brow. Just release any tension by bringing your mind's attention there. And once you're comfortable in your seat, making sure you're going to park your body for a few minutes. See if you can bring your awareness on how this body of yours is breathing. Don't control the breath, just watch it as if it's a fresh new thing you're observing. Just see if you can watch the air enter and exit your nostril and feel the sensations. Observed your breath for a little bit, see if you can press your mind a little tighter on the breath by following the exhalation and the sensation at the very tip of your nostril. See if you can feel the temperature difference between the exhale and the inhale. Mind is a little agitated, just try and focus mostly on the exhale, follow it right through to the end. If your mind is a little dull, see if you can focus on the inhale all the way into the end. Don't force it, just observe it until it naturally changes from inhale to exhale. This way you can begin to alter whether you're dull or agitated, too busy, until you bring your mind to some kind of equilibrium. So do a few rounds of that. with the next few exhalations, see if you can transform the place you're seated. So you're no longer here, but in some ideal, perfect place of meditation for you. It could be a forest, by the beach, on top of a mountain, in a room, anything like that. Just see if you can imagine with your exhale transforming everything around you until you are in that place, still seated in meditation and focusing on your breath, but everything around you is heightened, somehow affected. Then see if you can catch an impulse in your mind, inviting your perfect teacher, someone that fits you perfectly like a glove. Everything you need, they have. And as you think of inviting them, they appear seated in front of you, facing you. However you imagine them, as a 3D person or as a being of light, or if you can't visualize it, see if you can feel the sensation of them present in front of you. It should give you a sense of magnificent joy. Find a being in front of you who is connected with you with every single answer you ever need and more. And they're imbued with a kind of love for you that is unshakable. They love you completely unconditionally. The whole wish is for you to find an ultimate happiness, free of any suffering. See if you can catch that in their gaze at you, in their eyes. See if you can open yourself up for accepting that kind of love. Try and imagine what it is like to see the world through their eyes with this kind of love for every being and an unshakable wisdom that understands everything perfectly. See if you can get a glimpse of how they are seeing you and the world you're in, and still have love. You're aware of any kind of resistance or doubt or question about seeing them that way, see if you can catch anything in your mind that would prevent you from engaging them that way, and watch it dissolve. Watch it disappear, even if it's for a moment. See if you can get some kind of regret that that's there in your heart, and then it disappears. you seeing them a bit deeper than you did before. A kind of acceptance that a reality like that can exist. So see if you can catch a moment in your mind where you're trusting of this kind of being or this kind of reality existing, and find joy in your heart for having the capacity to understand that there could be beings around you who are unconditionally loving you and accept you perfectly. If you have moments where you're accepting that, see if you can find joy in your capacity for that. And then ask them in your mind to please teach you, to please stay close to you. Always whispering wisdom in your ear at every opportunity when you can have a realization. May they intervene and show you. May your mind wake up to those moments when you need them the most. May they send you secret messages in your sleep or at your work or in random advertisements in the subway. Wherever it may be. Ask them to teach you instead. And then see if you can imagine them getting smaller and shrinking and turning to sit somewhere at the core of your heart. Find a home for them there, available to you at any time. And when you're ready, you can slowly come to the room, open your eyes. So we've been studying this book called Bodhisattva, which is a guidebook on understanding that there are states of mind that can transform your experience of what we call solid reality right now. That this world we live in isn't fixed in the way we think it is, that it's completely available for transformation. And we believe that to nominal degrees. It's like, oh, I can understand that walking up to the 3 jewels makes me happy and make some people anxious, and it might really annoy other people. Like, we believe that's true for that kind of range. Yeah. But can we investigate the way we experience reality and extend that range to transforming everything that we experience beyond that range to it doesn't have to go through the cycles that we see in this life, called samsara in these teachings. That you can completely break out of the cycles of immense suffering, not just little sufferings, complete sufferings. That can be removed altogether from your existence. I mean, the Buddha set out to understand and put a stop to birth, aging, old age, and death. And then he had a realization of that and began to teach it in all sorts of ways for many years. he didn't say you must do these things. He said investigate these things, try them for yourself, and you can take yourself to liberation from these sufferings. And at the basis of all these teachings of the Buddha is this concept of emptiness, synonym wisdom. The book we're studying summarizes all his teachings into 6 core states of mind that we develop throughout our lives and previous lives, if you're into that already. And so we've covered already in the last 2 courses the first 5 of those states of mind one should develop. But all those 5 states of mind, the one of generosity, which has deeper meaning, the one of morality, of being towards your world in the positive kind of experience you'd like to experience out of your world. What's the third one? Patience, which means, it doesn't mean wait for a bus, it means there is a tendency in this realm just be angry. But we think it's okay to be angry. We even have psychological schools that say punch the pillow and think it's your wife or ex-wife. And this teaching says no, any state of mind that you allow will perpetuate and habituate and grow, and you will become that. So anger begets happiness? Duh. No. Anger begets anger. So patience here is a very specific, targeted human trait, being trait, that says if you allow instances of anger, it's grabbing all the potential goodness that you have and burning it. So patience here is a very specific action of developing a habit of not getting angry when you are expected to, supposed to. Like, we tolerate anger in our world. And if you understand the fundamental basis of your experience in this world is that whatever you generate in your mind, you will experience. So do you want anger? Do you want jealousy? Do you want hatred? So you've got to stop those. So it's a third. And then the fourth is joyful effort. And in the text he calls it the wind that moves the flames. It's coloring every action of body, speech and mind with joy, happiness for doing good things. And this will color your whole practice and result in kind of bliss of mind and body. And then the fifth state of mind we should perfect is the one of concentration. Of grabbing this monkey mind and saying, does it control you? Do you control it? Do you understand it? Are you just being dragged by it? Are you allowing it to do the hell it wants? Are you your mind? Like, have a look at that thing you call your mind. And is it yours? Are you its? The capacity to, when you go through the 9 stages of meditation, you begin to concentrate your mind and watch it do its thing. And there's so many other practices besides the ones that are covered in this book around concentration. So you have the 9 stages of meditation. When you teach logic, which is the next course, you'll see how catching instances of mind through the power of concentration, you will see false assumptions in your world that your mind is doing day by day, creating the problems we experience. Packets of information we grab as assumptions about how the world is and how I am in the world and so on happen too fast for us to catch. But to slow it right down and meditate and go into a zone where you can see your world fabricated by your mind, and in that fabrication there's 2 or 3 assumptions that are completely wrong, and yet we go and act on those, and then we figure out, why is my world not working? Because we're coloring everything with a kind of ignorance a kind of mistake, and then the world keeps working, and then there's a mistake. We're like, who put the glitch in the matrix? You did. Yeah. So concentration goes deep into understanding how we construct our realities. If you can catch an instance of that, it's a game changer. Then the work really starts, because then you got to fix up all the wrong ways of all the patterns you've built in the past that you still got to work. You don't just have, oh, I've seen an ultimate state of reality here and now I'm okay. No, it's like, oh, I've just spent my entire life creating mistakes. I've never had a non-mistaken experience until a special thing happens in meditation, and then you've got to go clean it up. It's like you have a vast field as big as the planet where you are planting your future self and future experiences, and you've just been planting thistles. Is that a bad plant? Thistle? Yeah, sounds yeah, like that. But you wanted, I don't know. Roses, they're thorns. Let's figure. Huh?
Lily.
What was that? Daisies. Yeah, they're nice. Can we do some fuchsias? They smell good. Lilies. Okay, those nice flowers. Insert your own metaphor here. But you've already planted a lifetime of thistles, and you just figured out, well, I can do lilies or whatever. You still got to go and fix it. It's just much faster now that you know how it works. Yeah. So whatever you sow, you shall reap. Is that right? Yeah. Not just out there. Your experience of the world is like that. And if it's got a glitch, you're experiencing glitches. So now we're in the depths of this book called Bodhisattva Charvatara, written 700 AD by Master Shantideva. Shantideva meaning, how do you translate his name? Shantideva. Peace angel, you could say. Yeah. God, angel, angelic being of peace. And he's been talking about the ultimate nature of all those states of mind, the one that gives them real power, understanding how things work, wisdom, emptiness. So we've been covering Madhyamika, middle way, logic, analysis to understand what emptiness means. Yeah? But we'll cover it again. You've all heard has anybody not heard the pen story? If you haven't, put up your hand. Yay! Okay, yay! Okay. So, I want to use a lily. Actually, let's not use the pen. Okay. No pen. Imagine this is a pen. No, don't imagine it's a pen. We'll confuse things. It's really simple. Okay? It's actually so simple. We miss it because we're used to looking at the world not in this way. Okay? It's not hard. We think it's hard. It's simple. But when you're not used to something, it seems difficult. Without examining it too much, and I go, what's this? You say, flower. Okay? So we'll agree it's a flower. Yeah? Good? Smells nice. It's a flower. What is it for a bee? What is it? When we look at it, we say, like, you didn't think about it, right? You went, flower. A bee lands on it and sees. Really, what do you think it sees? Do you think it says, flower? No, right? Food, yeah. Food, pollen, or whatever that nice sticky. I don't know the conception it's having, but I can not rationalize. What is it? I can speculate, imagine those words that it's not thinking exactly what we're thinking upon looking at this object. Let's add a dog. Puppy dog comes in here. Is it seeing the same thing the bee is seeing? Is it seeing the same thing we're seeing? Right? Part of us want to say yes, right? A big part of us wants to say, of course it does, Hector, it's a flower, duh. Right? But you think through the antenna senses of the bee and the multiple layers of whatever its visual stuff filters are giving it, does it see what you're seeing? It can't, right? Same for the dog. It probably thinks there's something to play with, chew or break apart, some toy to be aggressive with. Yeah? So we understand those three views of this object. Yeah? That doesn't take too much. Which one is correct? Right, okay. So, what is this thing if you remove the dog and you remove the bee and you remove us and I put it here and we run away? Everything runs away. What is that thing then at that time? Huh? It is, right? It's like potential. Because the second the bee flies in and its visual senses catch this object, for that moment it becomes something, right? What is this from it? So if that's the case, where is flour coming from? Where is food coming from? Where is chewable toy coming from? If we figured that out, if we figured out that this object, when you put it here, is something, when there's a bee in front of it, there's food. When there's a human in front of it, it's flour. When there's a dog in front of it, it's something to chew and destroy. Where is flour coming from? Is it coming from this object, radiating out and making me think flour? Or is it coming from us? And onto this object we construct flour, food, or toy.
It's like idea. It's
like an idea that comes, right? When you see this. Yeah, you could say that. Where did that idea come from? Right? You could say mine. Excellent. Yeah? What idea did the bee have? It's not like you tried, right? You didn't try, I'm trying to think of a flower. You didn't try. It just this flower for you. It happens so fast. Right? So there's something in our mind that forces us to try not to see a flower. See a pen. See food. It's difficult, right? It's difficult. Something's pushing onto this object. That's all emptiness is. It's saying this thing from its own side, radiating out stuff, does not have nature of flower, does not have nature of food, does not have a nature of chewable thing. This object is empty of having that nature. That's all emptiness means. It's not more than that. It's not complicated. We make it complicated because it screws up the way we've been operating all our lives. So we fight. You know, it's like if you have an addiction, for example, and someone says, Hector, you got an addiction, and I don't, and I've had it all my life, and someone's just waking me up to it, I'm like, no, I don't. I can't think that way because it will destroy all the constructs that I've built around my addiction. Yeah? It's sort of like that. That's why it's annoying. But the logic is so clean, right? So then the question must come, who put flower in my mind and collectively in humans to force flower as an experience? Who put food in bees and little tiny birds that flap wings fast? What are they called? Those ones. Who put food as a something in the mind of those creatures that upon observing this object or these types of objects, that is the first thing that comes. Because it ain't radiating that. We established that. It is empty of radiating. That's emptiness. And then my mind going, flower, like it's forced. You can't not do it. It's weird. Something's pushing onto objects, like this object, flower, and that's in our minds. We establish that through logic. Who put it there? That is karma. That's all it is, yeah? In this system. Karma is what we are forced to experience or project onto the emptiness of this object. And emptiness is that it doesn't have that nature from its own side, yeah? These two concepts, karma and emptiness, are like this, yeah? And it's not like karma is not bad luck, karma is not you got good luck. It got mixed up that way in the West when we began introducing these concepts here, because karma's coming three awesome flavors, right? Well, they come in a bit more that you could say some karmas are pleasant. I like flowers, right? So is flower a good karma or a bad karma?
Good.
Huh?
Good.
Depends if you're allergic to it or not.
Excellent, right? So you can't say even the human experience, the human karma of flower is a good thing or a bad thing. So why does this, let's kill the bees and kill the hummingbirds, and it's just the human realm, okay? It's just us humans. We won over nature, finally. Stupid. We've killed everything. It's just human minds. We've no longer got any other minds. So we go into the minds of humans, we look at this object, which we agree is now a flower. Unless you're a baby and you've never seen one before, and then you've got to be educated to flower. That's another story. And some go, amazing bliss forced upon me from this object. And others go, my throat is closing up. Someone take me to the hospital from this same object. Is it coming from the object? The object is empty of having that quality. Yeah, flowers make me allergic. No, they don't. But they function that way. Yes, they do. For you. Are we understanding that? Good. So we did that for a long time. You did it with a pen, okay? And that's establishing this idea of emptiness. And it should lead you, after you've practiced seeing the world that way, because if it's true for flower, is it true for table? Is it true for car? Is it true for everything? Everything that is experienced by the mind. Because the world is not coming this way. Things are not radiating their nature onto us, and we just have to take it, right? Because if that were the case, so here's the opposite argument to prove emptiness. If this had flower in it, and it was radiating like a Wi-Fi signal flower, then everything that caught that signal must see flower. Not food, not anything else. It must see exactly the same thing because it's coming from it. Yeah? It's forcing on reality onto minds. And that's not the case. Minds are creating reality onto empty objects. We spent a lot of time, much of the courses that we covered here for the last 4 years, discussing that, and sneakingly and conveniently try to avoid the fundamental question that should come up with everybody, which is, okay, but that object, its shape at least, surely bees can see the same shape I'm seeing, right? Its parts are making up flower. It's got something in it, right? You've got to find something in this stuff. You can't say it's just empty, right? So you can start analyzing, okay, this is the top of the flower and the bottom of the flower, that when you put them together you call flower, but am I seeing a whole flower? Are you really seeing a whole flower? You begin to analyze if the object we're discussing, it's fine to say flower, bees, food, and we've been avoiding talking about the parts of this thing, the data that sits behind what we're projecting. Surely there's some data here, Right? And after 4 years, for those of you who have been here, if you're new, welcome. Or you're either lucky or about to really shake your mind in a fundamental way. Is there data behind this? Surely you've got to say there's something for the mind to label flower. And that's what we've been investigating in this chapter. Because it's easy to say that for flower, it's easy to say that for pen, it's easy to say that about New York City. Is New York City a nice projection or a crappy projection of our minds? Right? It depends on your karma.
Season. The season.
For for Stephen, it depends on winter or construction, the two seasons in the year. Both equally annoying for Stephen. So that's easy, right? We talk about all these external objects. Let me level it up a little bit. If this is true for everything, let's try and find out whether it's true for everything. We've covered that in previous courses. What about you? Are you awesome from your own side? Are you sexy from your own side? Are you depressed from your own side? Or is that also dependent on a projection forced upon you by your past karma? That's a big one. That's personal. Yeah? Do you like who you are? I love you, Cliff, so much. I've been stalling you while Cliff went shopping. Yay, we can start the class. Let's see. Thank you so much. We covered emptiness, so you're fine. We've established you don't exist.
That's impossible.
The way we think you do. So let's go personal, right? You. Let's go the easy personal. You, the way you see yourself. Are you your body or your mind? You like your body. Is you the thing that is made up of legs and arms? Is that who you are? A chop and arm? Are you still you? Where is you coming from? Are you depressed? Are you happy? Is depressed projecting depression from its own side onto you? Is arm projecting arm onto you? It gets a little in, right? Let's go deeper. And the question then comes, if everything is empty of having a nature like we just proved, and it's dependent on the experiencer being forced to have this experience because of something we haven't discussed, that we did it in course 5 called How Karma Works. Yeah? But you can understand it's coming from your mind. We can talk about later how we put it there, or how it was put there for us to experience, and how they take off these little aeroplanes of experience. What about those 4 things that the Buddha set out to understand? If everything has a nature, does not have a nature from its own side, radiating its isness, yeah, like the flower or the food, or your depression or your happiness, or your good looks or your ugliness, your really ugly belly, your loss of hair. If things don't have a nature like that, what about your conception of death? Is death a thing experienced by your mind, radiating deafness? Is aging a thing radiating agingness? Yeah, and then we can get a little existential and a little wacky, unless we go and spend some time in analysis. Like concentration has been developed, virtue has been developed through all the previous 5 states of mind that we've been talking about. Now we're going deep. So last few classes, Master Shankdev has gone, let's investigate to the depth, who is it that is me? Am I my body or my mind? And we went through the physical part of us to see if there is data, and if the data has an isness, or if the data is also empty. And guess what we came up with to freak everyone out? There's nothing findable, because each time you look, you lose what you were looking for because you see the parts. It's gone already. You're now in parts. Your arms, your legs, your head. Are you in your fingertip? When you look for hand, you can't find hand in thumb or in forefinger or in. When you look for finger, you can't find finger in fingernail and so on. Yeah. So we've been going there about all the way down to atomic and subatomic particles, right? Can't find there's some isness in that. When you're going down to atoms and the things that make up subatomic particles, you've lost your body already, like a long time ago. Yeah, that's finished. So we did that, and we got that and that's easy. Okay. More subtle than that, which is what we did we tried to do last class, is the physical part of me we've figured out, right? Atoms come and go and they have a nature of their own, and so my conception of arm is completely constructed by my projections and aging and so on. What about my mind? What about the kind of mind I have? Does that have a nature of its own? Is this all there is? Mind. So there's really two ways that we can divide mind. I only told you one last time, that Master Shantideva addresses mind, the continuum mind, like this, like a mala, that it's one moment of mind, one moment of mind, one moment of mind, creating a mind stream, yeah, which is who you are, collections of your moments of awareness. That's one way. Another way, the Abhidhamma Kosha, is you can separate mind, the thing that is not the physical part of you, right, the conscious part of you, into the mental factors, and depending which 46, 52, there's like 3 or 4 divisions of mental factors, depending who you listen to. But this is like your capacity to feel, your capacity to cognize, etc., etc. You could say that and that and that and that make up my mind. That's one way of looking at it, or this is another way of looking at it. Instances of mind, one after the other, impacting on each other, having a flow in the now moment of mind, in the now moment of mind, in the now moment of mind, in the now moment of mind. Yeah? You okay with that? Similar to atoms, but much more subtle, hard to find unless you've practiced concentration and meditation. So then we went to see, well, let's find the now moment of mind. Yeah? There's the equal part to an atom, if you like, or to a subatomic particle. Let's find the minutest part of mind, which is the now moment of mind. Can you say that has any existence of its own, radiating its isness? Can you say that that is a solid unit? And guess what the answer was? It's got a beginning, a duration, and an ending, even the now moment. And you can't find a solid moment of now, because as soon as you find the beginning of the beginning, it has a duration. The beginning has a beginning, a duration, and an ending, so it can lead on to the duration part of the beginning. Does that make sense? And so the school we're studying says there is stuff out there that you label and project your reality onto, but you can't find it. That's no problem. It's just hard. What do you mean I can't find it? I want to find it. That thing, I need to find it. So if I find it, I'll be happy. That's what you're going to find. Nothing. And that's where the magic is. When you find it, that thing that was never there to find in the first place, you realize that you are creating your reality completely, and you have been all along. Except there's a time delay between all the stuff you've been doing, thinking and saying, and the way it manifests into your now, projecting onto all these emptinesses. Your reality, my selfness, my goodness, my fat tummy, my depression, my happiness, my wisdom. Like if you're like me, you have moments of complete bliss in your mind. You're like, oh my God, I'm in bliss. And then the next minute you're snapped in the face and you're like, oh, you loser. You're just a loser. Like, where did that come from? I was in bliss. Your mind is changing. Yeah? Those changes were caused. Then you get into playing with the beautiful chess game with karma until you have this ultimate experience where you know for certainty, or with certainty, all the things we're just discussing and studying. You know it as an experience. Our job is to, okay, I get that intellectually. Now let me go and sit in front of that angry, yelling boss and feel bliss. And sometimes you will, but you gotta, you gotta make a habit of it first. You have to fight against the current, because the current is, I'm gonna yell back when they yell at me. That's just what we're supposed to do, and that's just gonna get you more yelling bosses. Yeah? My mind is depressed. I'm going to get depressed about having a depressed mind. We should just give you more depression. So not understanding how things truly function this way, right? That's how they function. We think they function this way. We're forced to experience the shitty boss, the bad mind, it's depressed. All of it is changeable because it doesn't have that nature. And we've just gone layer and layer and layer and layer. And Master Chandeva is going to go a little layer deeper again tonight, now that we have a data projector. So let's do that. Does that make sense? Yeah? And it's completely applicable to every experience you have. You just got to slow down your awareness of just one or two of them and prove the flower to yourself, the angry boss to yourself, the depression to yourself, and go, my goodness, I've just been fabricating this. It doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It just doesn't exist the way you thought it did. Solid in that way, from its own side. Clear it out. Yeah. So nice to see you again. Yeah. Yeah, that's fine in front of the okay. So I think I covered some of the things from previous classes. Emily, this is last class. Can I give you a 10-minute exercise to go through the quizzes from the previous course, just to review the exercises we covered? And the way we do this is, if you haven't been here for that class, awesome, because you're going to sit with someone that has, and it will be their job to remind you the answers, just so you ask the question. I think there's 3 or 4 questions on that. So who was there in the previous class I taught? Not last class, but the one before I went to China. Yeah, great. So put up your hand strong. Jenna, great. And just get together and answer the questions as a group. Everyone put your name on top of the paper and see if you can go through the questions that we just sort of covered in 15 minutes. At 9 o'clock, we'll start the next part of the class, yeah? Which will be also a show and tell about China. Hey. So get together in maybe 3 or 4 groups. Thanks. If you need someone that was in class, so Cliff, you got access to the answers somewhere or not? No? She's got it. Paul, you got answered questions? Steve, you okay? Thank you.
At this point, so this is quiz class 6. At this point in the text, Master Shantidev moves from a major discussion of one kind of the distinction between the two is the answer to natural questions raised in we begin to examine
Can you help connect these people to the answers?
Oh, sorry. I have to do something.
I am laughing at that. That's also fun.
Oh, I don't know the answers. I think I know one of the answers.
Yeah, Steve or Paul can give
We
you
need
the
a
answers.
smart person over here.
Yeah, they'll have an answer. I'll speak.
Alright.
Okay.
You're on number 1. At this point in the text, Master Shantideva moves from a major discussion of one kind of happiness to another. The distinction between the two is the answer to a natural question raised in our minds.
What do we tend to
begin
think
to
of?
examine the essence of any other, especially our own selves. State the question and briefly describe the two kinds of happiness.
You don't want to do homeworks and quizzes?
Paul,
Yes.
why are you so far away?
I didn't get a text.
I texted Stephen. I asked permission before I
Salud.
Nothing to do with
Okay.
mine. The lowers. That the mind was
Saying he moves from a major discussion of one kind of happiness to another. That's what he's saying. He's like briefly describes two kinds of happiness.
vague.
I think so, yeah.
Why would you put them
I think he's saying like nirvana. Which is right. Like
So, when we understand that we're only a concept,
guessing.
No, I didn't. I was sure that
force of our
What's the question?
we begin to wonder whether the raw data itself is also a concept that moves on its own. That is, we begin to draw the distinction between the
Oh, yeah.
us and the entity.
It's not changing, right?
Yeah.
So, the mind is something.
And is the second one the perception of that?
For the emptiness. It is.
Yeah, the question for number 3 is why don't either of these two have raw data? And I think
Yeah. I'm stuck on number 1 though, because I don't know. What's you handing me this? I don't know what this is. You have a lot of responsibility. Here's what I wrote, the distinction between the two.
Steve, you got the answer? The first one? No, he's just asking. We're just going from a normal emptiness to the emptiness of the me and the parts.
Oh, yeah.
So that's all he's saying. The first one is he moves over a discussion from the flower to the parts of the flower, from the self to the parts of the self. So
It says state the question. It says state the question.
state the question.
I wonder if that could
The question is just
physical tangible thing or something that's
do the parts have
like
a self-existent nature, or do they have parts? Is there raw data?
Oh, yeah, like it can't be, it's not just that different. One kind of thing versus.
So he's asking the question that he wants you to ask is there raw data?
Like, does the raw data have its own nature, or are we also imposing raw
No,
data?
that's fine. So the distinction between the two is the answer to a natural question. So we think of ourselves like one to examine this many objects, especially self. All right, this is all right. This is where we're moving from like the flower is empty, and then it's like, oh, I empty, right? There's yeah, one thing is trying to get
Happiness. So
right.
Did you guys get it right?
what is right?
The answer that we placed as the expected answer.
I don't know. Find out.
So the question is, Are you on the first?
We're jumping around.
I think we're on the first. It's saying, you know, we've been talking about the infinite of the flower, and the me is not the flower, it's me. So we've understood that. Now the question comes up, what about the raw data? What about the parts of the flower? Is that also empty and imposed on us by the mind, or does it have a nature of its own? Yeah, so that's the natural question that comes up. Is there raw data, and is that something we impose on? So it's saying in terms of me, the person, and in terms of my parts as a person, the mind, the body, everything. So the natural question is, what about the raw data? Does that have anything? So
the raw data means the function.
yeah, exactly. Raw data is the function.
Of its entirety.
Versus the parts. Yeah, because we can understand if flower doesn't have a nature. What about petals? Do they have a nature? What about stalk? Let's go find flower in that.
Well, if you see the next mind it focuses upon the holistic
So this is about parts then,
Correct.
is there a part of the...
Yeah, that's why that's the sign.
T-shirt for the MT.
I got it right. You gotta tell me what the question is and have it
You can start breaking it down, right? The top half of the bottom half.
Correct.
So is it the body and the mind?
Exactly, but the body's made out of physical stuff, and the ultimate thing is atoms or subatomic particles. And for the mind, I gave you two, but this is the one I'd rather you use. It's the going into the now. Is there raw data?
What does this mean, raw data?
There is no flower here like we thought there was, right? But there's something. Is that something? Like exactly. So is there a cylinderness that everything experiencing it must experience it that way? Does cylinder come from that? Or is that also something we project onto?
Definitely a projection.
Right, yeah, of course. That blew my mind when I first started.
I haven't processed it.
Right, but logically you can understand it, right? But then the reality of it is like weird, because it's saying there's no arm in your arm.
That's the way.
So that's what it's saying.
What is the question?
No, you please. Like I understood all this, but I don't know what the question is.
The question has something to do with active. Okay, sure. I get we can break down now. I got to see the So the flower doesn't have a nature unto itself. It's hard. When we separate it enough, when we get really far down, we find something.
That's it, yeah, that's it. We're looking for that something. The substance.
The middle of the end.
That's it. Thank you. So why flour? And why not potato? If it doesn't have that anything in it, what's forcing flour?
What we were taught.
Huh?
What we were taught.
Really? You try and teach a dog flour. It's got a valid mind, it can perceive, right? And that's enough. It's a sentient, it has an experience of this, it can have contact, you can sniff, you can look. Why can't you teach it flour?
No, there is one elephant.
That would be
You answered like.
It's not just for humans, you can teach it. You can get a little baby human who doesn't know it's flour, but after you taught it flour, you have not think of it as flour. You get a little baby bee, it might never have had this experience before, but once it does, it's locked into that experience that any thought can come. Why? Certain minds have certain kinds. That's what, in the Buddhist world, that's what the realms of existence are. You're not human out there because you have arms and legs. You're human because you're forced to experience this realm. You're being because you're forced to experience that as food. It's like inside out in our way of thinking.
You'll never get to
whatever you're physically able to conceive, whatever your mind is able to understand, you're able to understand that as well, because karmically, your mind is much more learning, your mind is much more willing to actually learn things and retain them. That is part of your mind is able to level and that is the result of so you've done enough things to allow your brain to that's love. And now you have to let us know it because
Steve, if I put my laptop on that means over, is that still working so I can manage it? Is that okay?
maybe.
Like you can't just train.
Funny, I actually thought I was at Kmart thinking I was like gonna get one of these, and then I thought, well, he would have texted me if he was gonna use this projector.
No, I was going to. I was going to, and then I got a phone call out of the blue saying, "I'll be having a meeting at 6:30."
For what? For what?
I was meeting somebody at 6:30 here, and I wasn't finished, so I just ran out. Got a bring the projector. How's that? Okay. Cool. Maybe we right this highlight so we can see this. Okay, 1 minute. 1 minute. That's fine, yeah. Right, is that visible enough? Yeah, up to you. Good? Is that good? Yep. Are you guys done? Yeah. Cool. You guys done? Cool. Jenna, we're ready? Let's talk.
What I can do, but also to think that you're a thing, because you're a much infinitely.
Okay, we're ready? I'm going to go a little bit of the class and then we can have a quick toilet break, food break, and then I want to do the class, and I also want to tell you part 2 of the China experience. Yeah? So let's take a seat. These are some quotes from Master Shanti Deva, and it's the next chapter that we'll cover at the end of this course, the dedication chapter, mostly. But there's some magnificent ones. Look, the bottom line of looking for the emptiness of the bloody everything is that once you realize that things don't have a nature of their own, and that we are generating this experience by our projections onto them, and you figured out how to load the projector so your projections are not impure, meaning they break down, you realize that you have complete power to transform your world. Every aspect of your world's for real. For real. As real as the angry boss, as real as you thinking you're depressed, as real as my job just got cancelled. That real. Those are karmas, those are experiences. Once you understand that's a possibility, that's only a possibility because things don't have a nature. You see, if they did have a nature, if flowers were radiating flowers from their own side, they would never change. They would always have to stay flowered. Perfectly flowered. If your mind was a depressed mind, your mind would never change. You couldn't change your mind. If the nature of a human mind was self-existent, meaning it's radiating human mindness, you couldn't ever change your thoughts. It's just a mind. And you know that your mind is changing. If your body had a nature of its own, of being this type of body, you couldn't change it. It couldn't change. So understanding the emptiness gives you a depth of understanding that these are changeable things, including old age and sickness and death. And birth, and birth, and birth. You could do it. So that's the power of why we're talking about this. Because if you get this in your understanding DNA, if you get it logically first, like, don't know your name. What's your name?
Viviana.
Viviana. Viviana.
Yeah.
Okay, Viviana. If you're Viviana, and you said something, I get it about the parts, right? I haven't integrated or something like that, you said, but I'll buy it for now. Like, I got the logic, I'm going to work it, right? That's what I'm assuming. Once you do that, and you do that enough through trial and error, which is what the Buddha said one should do with ultimate reality, then it can turn into a realization. And only then can you free yourself. No one's going to do it for you, no words from me, no text from the Buddha, no nothing. It is up to you. I think another person here had a realization. Can I share your awesome realization, Sarah? Yeah. Sarah just had one of those realizations that is unshakable. She went on a 10-day retreat. Yeah? It was a meditation retreat, and parts of it were really shitty, right? And they were shitty enough for you to fight with yourself and go, what the hell am I doing here? Stupid, sitting down, stuff. Can you tell us what your realization was?
Yeah. I mean, you mean when I was like, it can't help me?
Yeah.
So, I thought that I really loved meditation, and I'm back to thinking I really love meditation, but I had a moment when I hated it. And so, every time my mind would jump somewhere, I'd be like, you're breathing too loud, or like, I don't know, or I'm too tired, or I shouldn't have eaten so much, or I'm just sleepy, like a million different places. And then we went to a place where you can go a little bit deeper, and then I was in a space where I couldn't blame other people for the fact that I couldn't meditate, and I just had a moment where it was just me thinking like that nothing out Buddhism is not going to save me, or meditation is not a thing out there that's going to make my mind not do this crap that it does. And so it was just this moment of it's just me. I have to sort out me. And this is a vehicle, but I'm not just trying to sit in meditation in a vehicle my whole life. I'm trying to get somewhere to use it as a tool, but the meditation is not the goal. There's something else, and only I can save me.
It was,
That's it.
yeah, that was it, and that was stunning. When you stop self-existently looking for answers, you realize that it's your projection that's doing stuff, and you accept it. You're like, oh, this is what it is. You know, it's not the Buddhist philosophy, it's not the meditation posture, although it is, right? You need to do the meditation posture, you need to do, but it's not the way you thought it was. And at some point, it's so frustrating, you let go of your crap, and then you work with the real thing. Yeah, and it might take you years to do that. But when you get there, it's a freedom that is unlike any other freedom. Nothing can compare to it, really. When you get a knowing, I love that you said, I went into that space. You know, you can't even name it, and where you get real. And what will come up is what you've put in. And these hours of sitting down and going to the depths and to the parts of parts and to the parts of the parts of parts and so on. This is the fodder, is that what it is? What we feed horses, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the fodder that your mind needs. So in those moments when you go into those places, something arises. Yeah. So that's that. I hope that for every one of you. Here we go. Master Shantideva last time broke simply in the last class, he broke, let's find the emptiness of me in my body or my mind, right? That's what we covered in the class you just reviewed. Now he's going a little deeper. Well, let's look at it in the 5 heaps, which is the traditional way of dividing. And I think we covered this slightly. I just want to cover it again, right? But interestingly, there's 5 heaps of a person, the 5, you hear this in the Heart Sutra, the 5 collections of things that make up a human, a self, you could say is your body, so. And then the interesting thing is you have feeling, discrimination, other factors which are the 44 in the Abhidharma, the other 44, and awareness. And so Master Shantideva is going, okay, so we understand that the me is empty, yeah? And we understand that the parts generally are empty, but what about all the parts? Yeah, let's go divide them. So I want to share with you a couple of things about this division of parts, because it looks like mind and body already, right? Like the red is mind, and the body is the grey. So one of the questions that comes up is, why would, instead of saying the mind and the body, would we break them up into 5, or into these particular 5? Anyone?
Feeling discrimination or troublemakers.
Right. In essence, it's like the, thank you. Our capacity to feel things and our capacity to discriminate between things are the core of why we get in trouble, of why we act out in a way that will load the projector with things that cause us trouble later. Discrimination being, I talked about it last week a little bit. That's mine, that's not mine. This is my kid, that's not my kid. I favor my kid, I don't favor your kid. Yeah? I can see the difference between this and that. And then feelings. Okay, I have an emotion, a sense, an arising feeling about something, and I act on those feelings. They propel us to action. Then the others are all grouped together in Dujen. And awareness is, if you like, the main mind. Yeah, you could say the main mind. Why in this order?
Subtly.
Yeah, and I think we answered it last class as well. You go from grosser to most subtle. So can you go through some kind of rationale or some kind of analysis that says, does the body have an existence of its own? Is it empty of having a nature of its own, or is a body a body? And we did that over and over, right? So we know it's empty. What about feelings? And this is what Master Shantideva is going to go and delve into, because it's the next troublemaker. Yeah? Do feelings, does the capacity to feel, does that come naturally? Is it just the nature? Does it have a nature of its own, or is it also empty? Pain and pleasure. things painful or pleasurable from their own side. Our capacity to engage with those sensations, is that set or is that also empty? And that's what we're going to cover tonight. And what about the capacity, the ability to discriminate and the other mental factors? So the next thing we're covering is the two main troublemakers. And the way we're going to, actually, the root text in the Abhidhamma Kosha highlights what you just said, that they are troublemakers because, and can someone read it because it's so backwards? Out loud.
Well, read it. Hector, you want to read it?
Yeah.
From where? Abhidhamma Kosha?
Yeah, from there.
Yeah. They are 1, root of conflict, and 2, the cause of cyclic life, 3, a reason for the order. Thus, feeling and discrimination among the mental functions are set apart as heaps.
Yeah, so he's saying this is why they were broken up, taken out of from the mental context into separate heaps, because they are so powerful on their own right. Number 1, they are the root of all conflict, right? Mine and not mine, I like, I don't like, and the cause of cyclic life keeps us going because we do it impurely. And 3rd, the reason for the order was the subtlety. Yeah. We're going to go through a thing called the analysis of finding the emptiness of feeling through this thing called the 4 deep awarenesses. And all it is a method of trying to see if feelings have a nature of their own. Right? Guess the answer. Okay, but if you don't go through the exercise, you're going to remain with the belief that it does, because we think everything has a nature of its own, even though we just covered it over and over. You're going to have to hear the emptiness of things over and over and over until you have a similar realization to what Sarah was describing about meditation, which is, I didn't get it at all up until now. It's not about sitting down and meditating. It's not out there, this meditating thing that I do. It's not out there, this understanding of emptiness that will free me. It's really seeing that things don't have a nature of their own. Like really seeing it. Connecting with it as not as a separate thing, but as an experience caused by habituation and understanding. So let's have a 5-minute break and then we'll go into this analysis. Yeah? Of the emptiness of feelings. And then I still